We live? We live? Hey! Alright, you've just loaded your save. At the end of Las Venturas, right? That's where we're at. And now it's time to start RTLS. Return to Los Santos, the last part of the game. Let's go! Home in the hills. I have a home in the hills. I got all that Twitch money. Yeah, right. You could sometimes pause buffer through this. I can't pause buffer through it. As in, like, pause buffer will skip lines. And as such, they'll jump sooner and end the cutscene quicker. Not me, though. I can't do that, so I just parachute, as is normal. Pull open your chute before you hit the ground. That was a pretty late pull. Ooh, that was super late. So just pull sooner than that, so that you don't splat and hit the ground and be very sad and have to load your save, which you should have a save, of course, at the end of Las Venturas because of the 0-star glitch non-sensory. You don't want to have that bug out your RTLS segment. So anyway, just land and run. Run to the mansion. Do not take a car. Don't take a car. Do not take a car. Because then the AI will be super accurate. We've covered this before, I'm sure. I ran out of sprint, so I'm just sliding the rest of the way here to the armoire, the armor. And you can just sit at these air ducts here. And wait. Catch up on your chat. Read your $1,000 donations. You know, speedrunner life. Kappa HD. Yeah, you can, like, aid the triads in this fight, shooting the Vagos and line up so that you drop down closer to the door here, but it's a matter of seconds. I'm not really looking for those optimizations right now myself. If you are interested, of course, check out world record videos for those top tier strats. Here we go. Once you see that text, jump off, run around to the dough, and now we're gonna slide. So minigun sliding, same as normal slide, except you want to switch to your minigun during the process. So crouch, move forward, tap sprint, switch to your minigun, and then right click. And here you go. We'll be wanting to do this. It can get real hairy during this part. I gotta be honest, try and minimize the amount of minigun ammo that you use here. You don't even have to use your minigun here if you don't want to. You can use your AK-47 if you want to be more conservative. If you don't have enough ammo, it might be a better choice. I used to do AK-47 sliding through here. These last few guys can really tear you up, so make sure you get them. I like to swing out there to get a better angle on this guy, but I, of course, failed. Run into the corner and knock him down. So if you haven't figured it out, you can switch weapons after entering a door like this. I switched to my satchel there, which means I can, at the end of this unskippable cutscene, I can just immediately start sprinting. Because this is a time-sensitive context. So I've got the satchels out, as you can see. I can immediately start sprinting, run up here, and we're going to minigun this guy. Ooh, yeah, okay, well, a little bit of offline aiming there. Turned off the aim script, of course, but nonetheless we got it. Starting vertical bird, just you can't see the marker, but you can still start the mission. That's going to be the case for a lot of RTLS missions. You can't see the marker, but the mission is there. So we've started vertical bird very quickly. You can save before starting vertical bird if you'd like. Just enter the mansion. And also, there are backups for if you miss shooting the guy at the end of the home in the hills. Namely, just follow his route, try and get the minigun on him at some point. Anyway, enter the boat. Sometimes you'll have made some noise. If you do, just, you know, gun him down. I like to play it super safe here, because these guys can tear you to shreds, and I am not for that today. No, CJ wants to stay in one piece, and that's what we're going to do. AK out again, get the slide going on. I like to just shoot this guy several times. Body shots, that's fine. Because if you shoot them, then they can't shoot back. Of course, they're stunned from getting a fucking bullet wound. Anyway, Hydra, get in it. Fly very low to the water. The Hydra is, of course, vertical takeoff and landing, so you gotta switch the thrusters to go forward. Do that as quickly as possible. And hopefully, some of the jets that are following you will have hit the bridge and blown themselves up. I got 2 out of 3 there. That's why you fly real low near the bridge. Lock onto that guy, and I like to shoot some rockets at him while locking onto him. I'm dropping some flares here to distract that rocket so it doesn't hit me. Landing in the bridge. Minigun out to shoot these ships here that we need to blow up for Vertical Bird. Got all of them, and I was lucky enough to have the 3rd plane just crash into God knows what, a mountain or something. Sometimes you get lucky with that, sometimes you don't. If you want to play it safe, of course, just do some dogfighting. It's easy enough to just fly in a circle and catch up to the jet and lock onto them and fire some rockets. Other people like to enter hover mode, let the jets fly past them, get the lock on going, and then knock them down. Being familiar with the Hydra is very critical in RTLS. You're going to want to learn how this thing flies. It's really not that tough. It's just very fast, and so you gotta be very extra careful to not hit anything that maybe hasn't loaded in yet, like some trees in the Badlands area that we're gonna have to fly over later. But enter the hangar and you'll pass the mission. Still in forward thruster mode, of course. I used the vertical takeoff and landing for the bridge, and I'm going to use it again here. Going to approach Torino's Ranch, pull out the landing gear. Pulling out the landing gear slows you down a little bit, so that's nice. Makes things a little more manageable. And, of course, you need it to land on the ground. And now, minigun hype. I think I get 3 here. 3 or 4. You can get as many as you like. Of course, it's a speed run, so the more time you spend here, the less time you're spending completing the game. So just grab 3, and I like to start holding this phone call here that comes in. Back into the Hydra, holding the call for the entire flight. So gonna have to fly the Hydra in the rain, in the storm, holding tab with my ring finger. Easier said than done, and we're going to fly to bike school because we need to use bike school to set up the homecoming dupe. The homecoming dupe is interesting because when you dupe homecoming, only 1 instance passes, and so there's 1 left over, I think. That means when you start beat down on beat up, that extra homecoming instance is turned into another beat down on beat up instance, so you got 2 of those running. So duping homecoming is very handy for that purpose. It allows us to skip grow for life. Bike school duping, there we go. We've covered it before. Hold tab. Leave bike school. I like to let go of it before getting out of the Hydra, of course, so that way it lines up well with the 15-second wait. We spend the least amount of time just standing around and fly over bike school. Oh my god, dude. Do not do that. Play it a little safer than that. That was really, really careless of me. Good lord. Yeah, you don't want to be praying to the gods when you're flying this thing, so just take it nice and slow at first, you know, get a feel for it during your first few practice run-throughs, you know, maybe fly around the Hydra casually, get a feel for it, land in some awkward places, do what you gotta do. Like this, you're gonna have to land here in this driveway. Don't land too close to the building. Try and get it out onto this little curve here, otherwise it will despawn and you will be sad because the Hydra is very handy and really minimizes the amount of travel time for homecoming. I like to try and run along that so I can just drop into the mission marker here. But of course I fell off. I think I get it this time though. I think second time's the charm. Jump up, run around. You can answer that phone call, by the way, that you're holding. to be able to start the second homecoming instance. You don't answer any phone calls. You don't have to answer any phone calls. Let me rephrase. You don't have to answer any phone calls in RTLS. But I like to answer the least amount possible just to make sure I have extras left over just in case something funky happens. And, alright. Landing gear out and just land outside of the precinct here. You're gonna need a car. Using the landing gear to stabilize your flight is very handy. It's what I've been using lately because I can have very hectic landings here outside the precinct, but nonetheless, cop car is a good pickup here. You're going to want a fast car, of course, as fast as you can get. Just don't spend all day looking for one, as usual. Cop car is a good pickup, like I said. We're driving back to Grove Street now. Make a left. Make a right. Very smooth. This, you're going to have to take over Grove Street again from the Ballas. So, skip this cutscene and then wait through this one. The thing about this is sometimes Ballas don't like to spawn, so hopefully they show up pretty quickly for you. Can't remember my luck here. I think I get them pretty quickly. Group of 3 is what you're looking for. There they are, right outside the garage there. And while you're waiting on Ballas to spawn in the waves here for the gang territory, you can just kill a drug dealer or two because you've got to kill all the drug dealers and take over the territory. So optimally, you would want to have all the dealers dead before the third wave of ballers spawns. Here's the second wave. Of course, kill them as soon as you can. Micro optimizations, you know, the faster they die, the faster the third wave spawns. Looking for these last two guys here on the right. Can be a little hectic. Just the last one guy there. And gun down the third wave very quickly, and that'll pass the mission. If you haven't killed all the drug dealers, you'll have to do that, and then the mission will pass. Shoot the second suite. The suite that spawns furthest away from you, it's always this one you want to shoot. The reason you want to kill that one is because otherwise, the fake suite will always get on the bike. And you can tell the fake suite is on the bike if there's no dialogue playing. I believe no dialogue plays if the fake suite gets on the bike. So just make sure he dies. Because otherwise he will always get on the bike before the real suite.
Oh, man, Glen Pork.
And then we head over to Glen Pork
And that fool had it coming too long. We'll take the whole neighborhood
to do another gang takeover. You know, of course, it's Return Los Santos. It's about taking back what's yours. And the energy we stored from earlier is going to come in very much handy here.
Hit those ballers hard.
So gun down some ballers once the territory pops up on the map. I like to cruise it down here. Sweet is one-handing that K. It's really impressive. Try to spot him in the middle of the bridge by looking away from the center of the bridge. But I had some spawn down here. Gonna move this bike into good position here so that we can pick it up very quickly after the mission, run back to the center of the road. Got bad spawns here again because I wasn't positioned properly. I kind of dilly-dallied, put the bike down. Oh my god, I need to make sure not to shoot it. Then stand, you know, grab some armor here. You can stand in the middle and have them spawn in the direction you're not looking. Then turn around and gun them down. And the hood is yours. Very important very quickly after this cutscene. It's going to dupe everything here, so you're going to have to kill twice the amount of gang members, which shouldn't be too hard with the minigun. Just blow up the cars, shoot all these guys, and then wait to skip. Don't skip the cutscene. Now you can skip it. It has to start playing the second time, and then you can skip it. Otherwise, you fail the dupe, and that's not good. So make sure you wait to skip. I'm a little salty. I got a flat tire there, but this is the backup Infernus. If something happens to your bike, or if you don't have one, you can just take the Infernus. It's the fastest car in the game. So it's not a bad choice. The Energy is just a little nicer because it's a bike, it's easier to maneuver, and a little bit faster maybe. Either way, Infernus is just fine if you need to use it like I do. So, head west and turn north past the Burger Shot. Cruise up this hill, Mad Dog's Ride style. Except this time we're going to be heading toward the front here, the driveway, so that we can run to the mission marker. I don't bother answering this phone call. Like I said, you don't need to answer calls at any point during this segment of the run. Cutthroat Business is a mission that gave me a lot of trouble back in the day because I always used to fuck up the landing here. I like to drive with the far cam here. The BF injection is kind of handles weird. It's hard to flip. That's the good part about it, because these roads are narrow and bumpy. They're not the best to drive on, especially with the BF injection. But ooh, cleared that taxi there. Very nice. A little bit of traffic accident. Not a big fan of those. But for the most part, a smooth drive so far. Alright, and what I do here is this. What I'm going to do is kind of YOLO, but not really, because if you know what you're doing, if you practice it, it's not that bad. But I like to drive to the left of this tree and angle to the right side of this little beach here and land in the water, and it'll trigger the cutscene. Get out of the vortex, get into the news van, and follow this route very carefully. It's pretty safe, and it's pretty fast. And fast is why we do this, but you don't want to get too far from OG Loke. So this route is the best way to go about keeping up with them. It's pretty lenient. You can be kind of far from them and still not be in danger, but of course, we're going to want to stick with them as much as we can, as best as we can. You could also just use the vortex if you want, but this is faster and pretty easy to do. So, news van strats. Save you a couple seconds here and there. Let's cruise up through the beach here. Reporting live from Los Santos. Final part of this San Andreas speedrun. Make a right here and trigger the cutscene down here. If you want, you can bail out and like roll into the trigger, and that way if you do that, you'll be able to have your radio for this part. If you really want your radio, that's what you can do. Otherwise, I just drive all the way down. And we don't have any radio or engine sound, but that's okay. Just keep up with OG Loke the best you can. The go-kart is a little weird to handle at times. It's very finicky on keyboard. That is the one fault of the keyboard and mouse use during this run that I really don't like is how the go-kart handles with the mouse and keyboard. You just got to be very, very gentle, very, very tappy, and watch when you're going over curbs. We're gonna have to turn right here. Sometimes landings can be hectic, but for the most part, it's pretty straightforward. Just follow OG Loke. I don't really take any shortcuts except for like the last part. Yeah, not a lot to say here. In terms of how to approach breaking down and doing a San Andreas run, it's a very daunting thing, I think, when you start out, because you could expect your run to be like at least 5.5 hours or more. My first run was around 6.5 hours, I think. And of course, I've cut that down now to about 4 hours and 30 minutes, so, you know, a solid 2-hour time save. 4 hour, 27 minutes, I think is what I have. A pretty respectable time. But what you're going to want to do with San Andreas, more so than anything else, is just practice in segments, in sections. Break it down as best as you can. You can even break it down into multiple pieces within the segments. Like, you can split Los Santos into 3 parts if you want, just to be able to practice it a little bit better. You can split Badlands in half if you want. Make it as accessible as you can for yourself. So that way, when you decide to finally string it together and do a full run, you at least have a sense of what you're doing in every single part of the run, every step of the way. It's really easy to be front-loaded in the sense that you know a lot about the early game, but the farther you go into the run, the less you know. And of course, that's why we have saves, homie. That's why we have saves, so we can break it down and visit those late sections of the run without having to be deep into the run. Alright, Riot. I'm gonna do the YOLO thing. If you want, you could just drive around the driveway, that's fine, but I like to try and do this, and it was god-awful. This time, actually, that was a very poor execution of that. It would have been faster just to drive down the normal way, but we are lucky to land on our wheels. I have flipped the vehicle and failed this mission before, so it's not a great time. So if you're feeling uncomfortable with doing that jump, just you know, take the normal route, the easy way out. It's totally fine. So Sweet and CJ are gonna have little awkward conversations about old ladies and spanking the monkey and shopping channels and bargains. You know, I like to take the highway here and just cruise right into Grove Street from this little breakaway wall there. And here we go. This is the gang territory skip. This is going to be the most complicated dupe that you will probably do in this run. So I don't bother saving here. But if you want, you can go into CJ's house and save. Even better, store the Greenwood, go in CJ's house and save, and then come out, get in the Greenwood, and drive down here. Do not get a wanted level. Wait for the phone to ring, cancel it. And note the time, of course. And you're going to walk into the marker and start the pause buffering. The thing about this setup is you're going to have to hold the call before the mission starts. So after you hear the phone ringing, hit tab. And if you hit tab and you're in the escape menu, just let go of tab, tap escape, and then as soon as you do that, hold tab. Otherwise, if you hit tab and go into the mission, you'll be good to go. Just keep holding it the entire time. Blow up the car, of course. That's going to give you a wanted star. Which is why it's important to get this right the first time, because the fastest way out of that is to blow up the car, and if you have to blow it up and restart the dupe, then you're going to have that wanted star, and it's going to be a pain in the ass to go away. Start Los Desperados. I like to just hold tab the entire time here. Really doesn't make a difference if you let go or not. Just make sure it's on mission 0 here. I like to have Caesar get in this car and just have it drive a little bit here until we find some gang members. You need homies here. And the shitty thing about this mission is your homies can just bail out of the car for no reason. I just flattened my front left tire there by trying to cancel the call. Don't do that. Wait, did I not flatten it? Hold on. Wait. No, I did. Alright, good, good, good. I deserve to be punished for that one. Anyway. If they bail out, you're going to have to re-recruit them. And you can do that by getting out of the car. Make sure you shoot to cancel the phone call. Make sure you don't aim at a homie when you're doing that, otherwise he might get aggressive with you. And then you can re-recruit them. I just had a guy bail out there. So we're gonna turn around and he's fallen over there in the rubble. I'm gonna shoot and hold disband. I'm gonna have to recruit a couple gang members here, and I just did that. So pretty okay recovery there. This happens because of helicopters flying overhead. The homies get spooked and they get out of the vehicle. You can see we have a helicopter right above us. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out here. I think I just drive slowly and kind of speed away. Alright, If they bail out now, it's fine because the marker's literally right here. So we can just trigger the mission and it'll be fine. But you need to have your homies with you. Or at least nearby. Alright, I was playing tricks with myself there. I was confused about where they'd spawn from for some reason, but here we go. You're going to want to continue through this as normal. The minigun is by far and away the absolute best way to handle this.
Keep together.
Every other gun, literally every other gun, does a shit job during this mission. Like the AK is a good gun, but you know you gotta have to get the headshots with that thing to make it worthwhile.
Keep it tight.
Meanwhile, you can just like tap the minigun a couple times in somebody's chest or body. No need for headshots, and you'll be good to go. So that was pretty quick. And we're gonna head into the alleyway here. Blow up the car as soon as you can. That'll kill at the very least 2. There's a couple guys behind the car. And then you can kill these 3 guys. You can't kill that guy though until he fires and kills Hazer, or attacks Hazer. Hazer's not quite dead yet. And then these guys, I like to go back and forth. Maybe not the best way to do it, but there's 2 guys down there, and 2 guys over here. And I like to try and disband. Did I disband already? No, I didn't disband, so I'm gonna have to shoot my homies. Kill every guy except one of the 2 that are crouching over here, and hit him with a satchel charge. You're gonna want to make sure it's on him, like literally on him, and skedaddle. I guess I did disband my homies. I don't see them. If you don't disband your homies before the final few guys there, then I suggest you kill them to make sure that the guy that you stuck the satchel with doesn't get killed prematurely. But anyway, take the blade, cruise back to Grove Street, and you're going to want to do a number of things in very quick succession. We want to start the mission again and pass it 500 milliseconds later, more or less. 0 to 500 milliseconds later after we start the mission. So what you're going to want to do, get out of the car, blow up the satchel, hold the phone call, enter CJ's house, let go of it when he says, alright, that's the last of them, let go of the call, leave CJ's house, pull out your shotgun, stand where the sweet mission marker is, wait for the dialogue to finish and fire twice. After the second shot, let go of your aim, and you should be good. It should be starting again, and it should be on mission 1. Yeah, the critical thing there, make sure you're aiming when you walk into the marker area, because if you're aiming and you're in the marker, you don't start the mission. And you're going to want to shoot twice, and then when the animation is done, shoot twice and then, you know, cease aiming. Let go of the right mouse button. And when you do that, CJ will do this like shimmy, and then the mission will start. And then you'll be doing this mission all over again. Let's hope homies don't bail out this time. I didn't really take a lot of damage. That's the nice thing about it. Oh, fucking really? Again? This mission sucks, dude. This happens way too often. But I got some decent recoveries there. That's pretty good. Sometimes they'll, like, you know, start shooting at each other, or you, or Caesar will kill them, and then you gotta go back and get new gang members all over again. But if you could disband and get them back in the car very quickly, it's very, very nice. I didn't have to cancel the phone call there or anything. It was it's a lot easier to re-recruit without having to deal with the phone call too, because if the phone call's ringing, you can't recruit or like disband, I'm pretty sure. So that's a nice thing about it. The whole reason we're doing this mission twice is because, as we discussed in the duping video, missions in San Andreas exist in chains, and in the chain where Los Desperados exists, the final mission also exists. There's health right there, by the way. I just turned the camera to show you. The second group before last, the health is behind them. So feel free to grab that if you'd like. If you need health. There's also health up here in the garage. I think I don't know if it's this part or the next part. But anyway, missions exist in chains. Lost Desperados and End of Line share the same chain. So what you want to do is start this mission twice, and then when you finish it the second time, the game thinks you've completed End of the Line Part 1. And when End of the Line Part 1 is complete, the game automatically starts End of the Line Part 2. So because you've done Lost Desperados twice, the game's like, oh yeah, it's time to start End of the Line Part 2. Even though that's not the case. Alright, I didn't show you the health, but it's in there. In the garage if you need it. So you can just kill all the guys this time and wait for the mission to end. And if you've done it right, you will warp straight to the last mission. Right after killing Big Smoke. So yeah, End of the Line exists in 3 parts actually. It's one mission, but it's got like 3 scripts in it. So I'm already spamming space to skip this cutscene as quickly as I can. And here we go. I like to put on the night vision goggles to blind my viewers and myself. But really, it does help out here. In my opinion, anyway. You don't have to use them if you don't want them. But anyway, minigun slide as quick as possible. Gun down the guys. Gun down these dudes. This mission is not that hard. There is armor on every single level. So right before every single staircase, there is armor hidden in a little room at the top of the stairs. So if you need it, fucking grab it. Please grab the armor. Do not be one of the guys who dies on End of the Line. Alright? Anyway, there are 5 dudes down here. I like to gun them down before sliding around here. You can jump through fire to not take damage, which is pretty nice. I think I catch fire here somewhere. Yeah, right here. I don't bother jumping. Armor at the top of the stairs here. I'm going to pick up. Start another slide. There's going to be another big group of guys here. Heading around here. There's this hallway. One more big room full of dudes right here. And then another little corridor. Armor is by that door as well, if you need it. Run through the final bit of fire. Go to the door. Fall into the gray hell. And spawn back up top. And run to the north to trigger the cutscene here. Sometimes you got a helicopter just flying around in the nether. It's kind of silly. Alright, hit tab and F, or hit your phone call and your phone call skip button constantly here during this black fade. Sometimes a phone call will sneak in and elongate the fade. It's happened here for me. So just tab and F to get rid of that. Sometimes the fade is very quick. Sometimes that happens, and if that happens, of course, tab and F, tab and F. For me, it's tab and F. For you, it might be, I don't know, Z and colon or whatever. And this is the last part of the mission. Following Tenpenny, this is really easy. The last meaningful thing in this run, more or less, is catching Sweet. Once you catch Sweet, you've got the final Autoscroller, and the final Autoscroller is really easy. Honestly, don't fall asleep, and you should you should pass it with no problem at all. Seriously, I don't know anybody that's failed the Autoscroller. I've failed catching Sweet. Other runners have failed catching Sweet. Josh Muse, I'm sure. Illuminati. Me. Bunch of dudes have missed Sweet. So, yeah, don't miss Sweet. This is pretty simple. This car is, like, invincible. So, you really got nothing to worry about in regards to the Molotovs or damage or anything. Just, you know, drive. Follow the fire truck. I got this cop blocking me here. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny, he says in the most monotone voice imaginable. But here we go. Train tracks there. Just in case you were interested, there are train tracks to the left there. They're now behind us. Fire truck in front of us. Sweet with probably the most insane upper body strength I've ever seen in my life. This guy is seriously an athlete. He must have been pumping iron like non-stop as soon as he got into prison. Just hit the gym and did not leave until CJ got us. Until CJ got him out. Like, fuck. There's the train for freight that is used in 100% runs. Yes, 100% literally plays this mission up to that part and then steals the train and does freight. We'll follow the railroad tracks here. So you cut onto the highway. And then this guy is going to get out of the fire truck here any second now and proceed the process of trying to kick Sweet off. I don't know why I'm honking there. I'm despawning a lot to try and free up the road as much as possible so I can maintain some speed and cruise on over to get Sweet. Easy, easy, easy. We're done! Not quite, but I mean, that's the last meaningful thing. Literally, like you could just bail out after picking up Sweet. It doesn't matter. The last part of the mission will start. This Autoscroller. This is usually when I do my victory speech. I thank all my viewers for coming out. I thank my mom for, you know, existing. I thank Rockstar Games for, taking thousands of hours of my life away from me. Of course, that's a joke. Yeah, like, I mean, there's really nothing going on here. It's supposed to be climactic. I suppose if you're playing casually, this is supposed to be an intense final, like, showdown or whatever. I don't know. Intense final part, but really, speedrunning wise, it's a snore fest. This is the part where the chat guesses what the final time is gonna be for your run. You know, like I practice a lot of shit in this run. Never practice this. Like you just don't mess this up. Like the car has so much damn health, it really doesn't matter. You can, like, do 2/3 of this and then stop playing for the last third and still be fine. But anyway. Yeah, I guess thanks for watching the series. I know it took me a while to get it all done. I appreciate your patience. I've done a lot of my life since starting this, so, you know. A few ups and downs. Few changes of priorities that have put this on the back seat, but I've mustered up the energy to deliver the final bit of this content to you, and I can finally say I'm done with it. I don't know what I'm gonna do next. I'm open to suggestions, but if you suggest something, don't be surprised if I don't do it. You know, I can't do everything. I want to do everything. I can't, though. But if you've got a good idea, please do not hesitate to let me know. Yeah, this is the end. There's that little cutscene there. I totally missed that. I'm not looking at the screen at all right now. I'm looking outside. It's a beautiful day. It's you know, it's June 4th. It's a pretty day. Might go outside later. But yeah, more assholes coming from nowhere. Down in flames. Boom. Maybe I'll cover like Vice City 100% or something. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. I might do a video about like how to do your first run. Like I've shown you how to do everything, but now how do you piece it together? How do you learn? Like I've shown you what to learn. How do you learn it? I guess. That's, like, speedrunning has always had a high barrier to entry, but it's gradually getting lower and lower over time. And, I think that's a great thing, and I think, we as a community should strive to push it lower and lower, because the more runners you have in your game, always better. The more activity, the more people you bring in, even the more people that watch your stream, really helps out the life of a speedrun community. So I think it's in our interest, in my interest, and in speedrunners' interests to bring people into our hobby. And I hope I've done a good job of it today. This is the final cutscene. Timing ends when the fire truck plummets over the bridge, when that cutscene starts, is the end of the run. If you are doing something like all missions or 100%, timing ends. For 100%, timing ends when you've done everything that gives you completion. So usually that's after you skip the credits. In 3 Vice City and San Andreas, you don't actually pass the last mission until after the credits are done. So that's why the distinction is made. But for just getting to the end of the game, or what we recognize as a point where the end of the game occurs,
I just want to be sure it's over, man.
that would be when the cutscene starts.
He killed himself in a traffic accident. No one to blame. Let's roll.
Let's roll!
God, man. You know, I mean, you beat the system. I tried for 30 years to cross over, but you managed it, man. I mean, man, you're an icon, man.
Oh, thanks, man.
I'm just glad it's finally over.
Me too, Kendall.
You know what's up with Smoke.
I'm just playing.
Saw things a little
I'll let this play out, I suppose.
Always on his own, always out.
Thanks for being here, guys. Thanks for checking out the content. Thanks for subscribing. If you like what I do,
Let's go get something
I
to eat.
speedrun live 5 days a week. Sometimes I play games casually on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/KZFrew. If you'd like, drop me a follow on Twitter if you want to keep up with me, at KZ_Frew. I'd appreciate it. I don't have a Patreon or anything.
see you around.
Maybe I'd start one day if I actually made videos consistently. But yeah, if you wanna show me some support, definitely head over to my Twitch channel. Let me know that you like what I
Now
do.
everything is cool. We gotta stay on top of our game. Keep
Show up
everything
and
in
say
shape
hi.
for
That would be
We
amazing,
got
man.
problems in Venturas, problems in San Fierro. Shit's never ending.
For sure. I mean, the family's back on their feet, but we gotta keep shit tight. Because a lot of people has got their eyes on it.
Whoa, 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 whoa. I come in peace with Mr.
KZFrew, who has an announcement.
I mean, our first gold record!
Cheering.
Baby. Yes, know I'm talking about. Yeah, they heard about
I
it.
decided to get breast implants.
Yucky loco, is it?
Choco. Anyway, what's next?
We should hit the casinos, roll some dice with Woozy.
Nah, we gotta take care of shit here first.
We going on tour, fam.
Has anyone got a tissue? My nose is, it won't stop
Yeah.
running. Is that, anybody?
Yeah, I have. Over there.
I'll pass.
Carl,
If I've missed anything, if you have any
Yeah.
questions, feel free to ask in the comments.
See what's happening.
I'll try to keep up with them. I'll try. Here are the credits, of course. You can't skip these credits until it reaches like the desert part and the camera's going through one of the old airplane parts. It's weird. You can't skip them for so long, but whatever. Let them play out for a little bit. Thanks for being here, guys, again. Thanks for all your patience. Thanks for all your support. I'll see y'all later. See y'all on my Twitch channel, maybe. Take it easy, y'all. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.